Hi BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and this is a bit of a book haul slash kind of update of how Jane Austen July is going for me. So, I just got back from visiting my sister, and I did finish the other Bennett sister, which I did a review, like literally just filmed it. It was great. I absolutely loved this. I loved Mary Bennett's story. I love how we got to expand on her more. I loved the romance. And I just so totally relate to Mary Bennett. You know, I mean, we have some differences obviously, but I just absolutely love Mary. And I definitely think if you are, a fan of Pride and Prejudice, then definitely check this one out. It's a great retelling slash sequel to Pride and Prejudice. So there is that. And then I started reading, I did read Jane Austen, Her Life and Letters, but I only got through one chapter. I only read one chapter before I went to bed because we were traveling all afternoon into the evening yesterday, and we got home late, around 9ish. And then, I had to get ready for bed and then put all my stuff away and all the stuff I brought with me. So it was almost 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. when I got into bed. So I only read a chapter. And then also my jaw was kind of hurting me because I grind my teeth. So I was tired, but I was worried about not being able to fall asleep. So I got through one chapter where we learned about the cousin Eliza was married to a French count, and she was a cousin of Jane's, but she was very close to the family. I had just realized she was in Becoming Jane, and but anyway, so I don't have a lot to say about that one, but I did read that chapter, the chapter about the Hancocks and the Hastings. But I mostly read Northanger Abbey after I read the other Bennett sister, and this is about Catherine Morland and how she kind of finds herself in a very interesting little love triangle. I've noticed, and she's very much a fan of reading, and she, especially Gothic literature. And it's very interesting to read this one. She's a lot, to read her story, and I don't know how I feel about Mr. Thorpe. I don't know if I feel like he's kind of manipulative and does not seem to get that Catherine is not interested in him, and like she likes his company, but she doesn't want to marry him, and he's just very pushy about it. And he's competitive with Henry Tilney, who I think is the love interest. So she is kind of caught between the Thorpes and then the Tilneys, and how they're fighting for Catherine's time, spending time with her. Like, she wants to spend time with the Tilneys, but the Thorpes are very, let's spend time with us. It's all about us. And I feel like her friend Isabella is not the best influence on her. So I'm definitely gonna have to watch a bunch of other people's thoughts on this when I'm done reading it, see what other people say, and watch Bookish Princess's character map video. She does the character map videos for all the characters in Jane Austen novels. And this, I guess, according to this is the first one she wrote. Published in 1818. So she kind of reminds me of a mixture of Emma from Emma and Emma Woodhouse and Marianne Dashwood, and as far as personality goes. Where she's just very dramatic and, has all these fantasies about life and about marriage, and tries to be smart, but she's not. So yeah, it's a very interesting read. Um, and it's one of her shorter works. I just noticed it's not that long, so that's, compared to some of the other ones I've read. So anyway, looking forward to continuing that along with Jane Austen's Life and Letters. So that is what's going on with the Jane Austen. I don't know if I showed you guys this, but I did buy another copy. I finally bought a copy of Persuasion. I just have this love-hate relationship with this book. Like, I've read it twice now, and each time I feel like my love for it has definitely grown. It's grown on me, the story of Persuasion. The first time, you guys, if you look at my, thoughts on Goodreads, I didn't love it. At the time, it felt kind of boring to me, but I read it the second time, and I liked it a lot better. I retained the story more, and then, I was watching Bookish Princess's video because her character, because I know what happens in the story. I've read it twice now, so I felt like it's not going to spoil anything for me, but it definitely got me more inspired to give it a third attempt. And this, this is not that expensive a copy. It's $7. So it wasn't that expensive. I have been tempted to buy like the Clothbound editions because I really like those. Like, I'm kind of obsessing over those right now because even though I'm not a huge, I don't normally like hardback books, I like the look of those and the feel of those. And I know that they fade and everything. That's people's biggest complaint about them. But I still absolutely love them and love using them. They're so pretty. I know that they, like I said, I know that they fade, but I personally don't care. I still think they're beautiful. So I think some of my favorite books I would love to collect in the Clothbound. The problem is trying to decide which, because I can't have I don't have the space to have multiple editions of my favorite books. And I also don't have the money for that. So, I'm just... I even mentioned to my sister, I was like, today, because I was saying, I'm thinking about trading up some of my favorite classics for these Clothbound editions, and then maybe I could give them to the boys, for when they get older, the boys and girl. And, of course, but she doesn't like having a bunch of stuff. She's, that, who knows if they're going to actually use it. That's why we never saved some of our, we didn't save all of our kids' books and all of our toys, because who knew if she was going to have kids or not. I'm sure she wanted them, but, we didn't know what the future would hold. So she doesn't like, saving things for the future. But I do have a box, of books that I would love to give the kids one day, but I think I might go through it and see which ones I actually would want to save for them. But, anyway, so... yeah, I haven't started reading it yet, but my friend Larissa, she is going to read this one along, I don't know if she's read it yet. This one and Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which I was really excited about. I'm so happy that she's so much more open about, like, trying different things, and just, exploring her taste, seeing what she likes and what she doesn't like. She's willing to try a lot more stuff, which I really like, because I can actually share books with her. As much as I'm all for Terry reads what she wants to read, I'm all for that. But what, like I said, and I've said this before, what's frustrating is that I can't share my books with Terry. And I like with Larissa, I can share my books with her because she's very much trying different things. She doesn't have preferences yet. She's just kind of starting. So that really helps. Plus, she also says that, even though I'm a firm believer in that watching a movie adaptation or a TV show first is not a crime, and I also will defend TV watching, I think you just need to find a balance and not do it too much, and I think that's the risk with kids, so you almost gotta, monitor your kids' viewing habits. But, not just almost, you do. But at the same time, it can kind of, I think I've talked about this before, that it does kind of bug me when someone's like, oh, I watched the TV show or the miniseries, I watched the adaptation, and they haven't bothered with the book. Maybe that's hypocritical of me, But it kind of does irk me a little bit when people don't even bother with the book, or at least trying to read the book. Like, I feel like I at least try. I'm trying, I mean, it took me a while to, consider reading Lord of the Rings, but I listened to it in an audiobook, so you can't say I didn't take it in the story, the original novel. I listened to it instead of physically reading the words, but now I bought it. But what's nice about that, the rest of them will actually try to read the books. But, which, by the way, I've heard that the latest Persuasion adaptation is not that great and does not really understand Anne Elliott's character, the kind of person that she is. It's sad because I think Dakota Johnson, if given the direction, she could pull off how Anne Elliott is in the book. But I think a lot of people say that she looks too modern. Like, someone use the example on their video essay about the adaptation, that it's just like, there are some actors that just look too modern and cannot, pull off like historical characters physically. But I think if given a chance, Dakota Johnson could have done it if given the opportunity. Now, I don't know whose fault it is, why they went the direction they did, although, I'm told that people that were on the team for writing the screenplay people say that they sound like people that assume they know how certain people act, but they don't really know. They go by stereotypes. But I probably will not ever, watch the adaptation. I'll just settle for some other ones, some of the older adaptations, like the Syrian Hines one or something. When I do watch it, because I would like to watch it at some point if I can get access to it. But anyway, I'm gonna read this one again. I don't know when, but I will. I don't know if it might not even be for Jane Austen July. I might wait until August to read it. Okay, let's get to the book haul. So I actually went to Barnes & Noble twice. So the first time, my mom had to run a couple errands. My sister and brother-in-law were taking the kids to a morning kids party. So we decided not to go because we didn't want to crash the party, even though the woman that was hosting was like, oh, you can invite them, not a big deal, I'd be happy for them to come. But we both, felt like we didn't want to crash the party. And plus, I wasn't sure how I was feeling because I was taking some medicine that was making me feel a little nauseous. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take it easy for a while. So we went out to breakfast that morning and got a great, I cannot remember what that restaurant is called, but the Third Watch or First Watch is really great. If you ever come across the First Watch, it's a kind of a breakfast brunch kind of place. It's really good. It's a lot of healthy stuff, but not in a bad way. I know people are apprehensive when you hear healthy, but it's actually genuinely really good. It's healthier alternatives that are good. I know that sometimes people are wary of health foods, but it's good. So we did that, and then it turns out there was a Barnes & Noble not that far. So she was like, well, do you want to go to Barnes & Noble while I'm at BJ's? So I was like, won't say no to that. Which, say what you want about Barnes & Noble and the company, I still love going to Barnes & Noble. It's a 10 times bigger store, at least compared to My Books A Million. And I love the aesthetic of it. I know that people have issues with Barnes & Noble, and their company doesn't have a smart business plan on, because there was a lot of their companies that their stores closed, like the one in, where my grandma lives. But I still love it. Say what you want, but I still love it. So we went in there, and I decided to be good, and I just got one book because the one I had my eye on was kind of pricey, and it's actually a Clothbound. So like I said, I'm trying to restrict my Clothbounds to my favorites, although I don't know if I would consider Sense and Sensibility or the Odyssey my favorites, but I still got them. And I did like the aesthetics on Sense and Sensibility and the Odyssey, and although the Odyssey's kind of become a favorite. So I guess they are favorites. But I decided to get this one, the Clothbound of Bleak House. And I'm okay with donating my original copy of Bleak House because I'm just not as into that original Arcturus. I mean, I like the brightness of it and the cute cartoonish look to it, but I'm not as interested in the art tourists anymore. I mean, I'll probably keep some of them in my classics that aren't necessarily my favorites, but I still like the classics. So, but anyway, I absolutely love this first. I love the color. I always love this color. And I don't know what the image means. I don't remember the image of these bird houses, like these bird cages. Not birdhouse, bird cages. I don't know what the significance. I don't remember what the significance is of these. But I keep meaning to reread Bleak House, and I did start reading it. But I also, I've talked about this, how I was kind of caught between, do I continue with Dombey and Son, which I've never read, or do I just go ahead and reread Bleak House? But I like this, and I like that, we don't have to worry about a dust jacket. I like how they're each different colors, and they have pictures that are symbols on here. I showed it to Larissa from, of course, these are not cheap. They're like, this one is $26 in the US, $35 in Canada, and $14, and it's the cheapest in the UK, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, I love these editions. So I'm trying to, pick and choose which ones. I mean, I would love to have like Dickens' work in the box set or Jane Austen's, but I've already bought them separately, so it wouldn't make sense to get a box copy, because then I would have 2 copies of one of the books. So, or how, so I'm probably never gonna get a box set. I would love to, but nope. Plus I love my, another author I would think about getting a box set is, the Brontes, but I have, like, some of my copies of their works I actually do like I love the copy I finally settled on for Jane Eyre. It reminds me of a Tim Burton novel, the cover. Or there's an artist that it reminds me of that I'm trying to think of, but I don't know their name. There's a certain artist it makes me think of. But anyway, yeah, so I just love these editions. Like I said, they're just pricey, but I did put some of them on my Amazon wish list for Christmas, so hopefully I'll get at least one of them. But yes, I love these. I'm not entirely huge hardback fan, but I like these along with the Everyman Library editions of these books. But I only have one of those, so yeah, I love these. So that's what I got that first trip to Barnes & Noble. And then I was able to get together with Larissa, because she is in Virginia right now, and that made me really happy. I got to see her. It's been like a year since we've planned anything. It's just kind of hard, because when I do go to visit my sister, our visits, when we all go, it feels like they're a lot shorter, and I want to spend time with my nephews and niece and my sister and brother-in-law. So it's kind of hard to time it perfectly, and then there's some times my mom needs me to help her with the kids. So it's hard to time it perfectly, but she did tell me that her summers are now available, so hopefully she'll be able to come to North Carolina. We'll just have to schedule when she can come, and hopefully because I know she makes a trip to Georgia, because she has family there every year. And she plans a trip to Georgia every year because she has family. So, I'll have to make sure it's before that. But anyway, so the other visit, well, first let me go ahead and show you. So during one of our, walking around my sister's neighborhood, we went to one of the parks in the neighborhood, one of the playgrounds in the neighborhood, and I did not realize that there was one of those little libraries that they have set up on the side of where they have a bunch of, a box with a bunch of books in there, and it's a little library. Ideally you're supposed to put another book in there, but I didn't have one. I mean, I brought books with me, but I was keeping those, so I didn't have a book to put in there. But it's not like, so forgive me for that. But I ended up taking home, they only had one book in there that I was actually interested. It's a lot of, like, with those little, sometimes it's books that, just that, like, sadly, I mean, I appreciate that they have this. I think it's such a cool concept that they have those, but they don't always have the biggest selection, because it's always just the best selection, because it's just books that people are, just getting rid of, books that people don't want anymore, and it's not necessarily books that will get everybody excited. So, but I did find this, which was really cool. It's, and I'm glad I passed by it the first time, and then I saw it again, and I was like, well, let me check this one out, because I haven't looked at it yet, and it's 8 Famous Elizabethan Plays. So it's Thomas Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, Decker Shoemaker's Holiday, Haywood's Woman Killed with Kindness, Johnson's Valpone, Beaumont and Fletcher's Maid's Tragedy, Webster's Duchessism, Malfi, Massinger's New Way to Pay Old Debts, and Ford's 'Tis a Pity She's a Whore. That's a funny title. I like that one. 'Tis a Pity She's a Whore. I only recognize Marlowe's name though, because he was a frenemy to Shakespeare, I believe, and he's in Shakespeare in Love. So the character, I think he's played by Rupert Everett in that one. So this was really cool. Like I said, unfortunately, the only thing I spotted that I was actually really excited to get it. So to see it there and to take it from the library. But unfortunately, I could not return the favor. So, but it's not like, it's a free book. So, but who knows? Maybe. I mean, the problem is I don't know if I would get a chance to walk up there. So, I mean, what I could do, I could probably just bring some books with me and just tell my sister, hey, I feel bad about last time, so can I just leave a book in that little library thing? So I don't know if I'll do that or not. I might not remember to do that, but I could. But anyway, or I could just, tell Jess, my sister, it's like, I feel bad, so if there's any books that you need to get rid of, please put one in there. But yeah, so I thought this was really cool. It's a little beat up. I like that it looks a little beat up and retro, and just, it's a modern library. Number 94. And it motivated and inspired me to remember that I should take 1 month out of the year and just read plays. But I probably would still read and throw in a novel there. But, I mean, what I could do is one of the other books I have here that I will show you in a little bit is actually, I have a fantasy retelling of it on my shelf that I want to read. So maybe I could do like a month of reading plays and also reading that novel along with the play, the original play. So maybe I'll do that coming up. But anyway, so yeah, it was really cool to see this, I mean, like I said, I'm only familiar with Christopher Marlowe, but, plays are even easy. I feel like plays are even easier to get into than poetry, because poetry is so cryptic, while plays are basically, it's like reading a screenplay. It's basically a screenplay. It's just it's not written for filming, it's written for a stage. So but it's like reading a screenplay, and I read, I used to have a copy, I don't know where it is, but I used to have a copy of the screenplay for Moulin Rouge that I will read on occasion. Unfortunately, it started to fall apart, the paper, the script itself. So, but yeah, and unfortunately this is the only way I will get access to some of these plays, because, I mean, we do have Shakespeare in the Park here, but, they only do Shakespeare. I don't know if they do any of these other Elizabethan playwrights, but yeah, I thought that was cool. And it got me really excited, so. Okay, so now let's show the last books I bought. So I went with, so we were able to get together, but as I started saying, I was able to get together with Larissa. I was very happy about that. And we got some sushi, which is really good. I love sushi, and not all sushi is raw fish. We were talking about this, how a lot of people are against sushi or apprehensive to try it because they think all sushi is raw fish, and it's not. I mean, you can start with a California roll. That's not raw fish. Just start with a California roll. It's an Americanized version of sushi, So, I think anyone who's, like, apprehensive about sushi, a lot of times they end up liking California rolls. So, but anyway, I just wanted to say that because we were talking about it. And sushi's really good. I really like it. So we got sushi. I almost insisted on going to Duck Donuts. I mentioned Duck Donuts, but then she mentioned there's a Barnes & Noble. I don't know if I kind of, talked about going or something, somehow mentioned in conversation, but she was the one who told me, oh, well, there's actually one nearby, I think. And I was worried because, there's the one where my grandma lives was closed. So I knew that not all the Barnes & Nobles are open. And there is one in North Carolina in some counties over, I think, or in the same county, but just another little city or whatever. And I don't know if they got a lot of business, but it's kind of by itself, so it probably gets, and it's still open, so I'm sure it gets some business. So I'm always apprehensive when I hear about when I see that there's a Barnes & Noble word that they didn't change the map and it's not there anymore. But, so my mom's like, okay, she said, okay, as long as we let her know where it is. And I still had some money in my budget, my book buying budget. So, of course, I went over, unfortunately. But it's okay because in August I will be a lot more cautious and let it. But I got 2 books. So first is, I had a hardback copy, and I debated about getting a paperback because the hardback copy is kind of cool looking. It looks very vintagey, but I'm just not big on hardbacks. You guys know, as I said, even though says the girl who just bought this book and this one. But I mean, some hardbacks I give exceptions to. But in this case, I decided to go ahead because I really like these editions. I actually recently saw someone with these editions on BookTube. I cannot remember who it was, but I really like these editions. But this is The Idiot by Dostoevsky, and this is about a young Prince Michigan, and how people kind of don't take him seriously and think he's an idiot, basically. And like I said, I think Kate Fell, I still never know how to say her last name. I think she said that she feels like this is kind of the first example in literature of autism, and like maybe the character is on the spectrum. But I've been wanting to read this. Oh, that is so confusing. There are so many books that are like have the vintage classics label. And it's like, okay, which ones are the vintage classics? Because I have these other Russian editions that are very different from this. My copy of Anna Karenina doesn't look like this, but it's considered a vintage classics edition. So I don't know. They must make a lot of different types, I guess, the company that makes these books. But I really like this. I like the simple design. And I don't know, it kind of fits, the country. And I like it. I want to collect my copies, some of my other Dostoevsky works in this edition. I'd love to get them. And what I like to do is I put War and Peace as the cloth. I want to get War and Peace in the Clothbound edition, and then I got Anna Karenina in, like I said, the other Vintage Classics edition with the, with the French flaps. And then the rest in all of Dostoevsky's books, I want to get in this edition, although I have Crime and Punishment in the other edition, which I think I picked Clothbound for that one. But the rest of Dostoevsky's, I want to get in this edition. All the ones I'm not as familiar with. Plus, they'd be cheaper. I mean, it's still $18, but compared to compared to hardbacks, compared to like Clothbound and stuff like that, they just still pretty good. Oh, and it's funny, one of the translators' name is Larissa, one of the translators of this. But like I said, I need to read I want to read Brothers Karamazov first, and then get back to this one, and then get to this one. But I don't know if that will happen. So, and then the last book I got with when I was in Barnes & Noble with Larissa is, so this is the one I was talking about, King Lear. So unfortunately these are Barnes & Noble exclusives, I think you can only find them either online or at Barnes & Noble. So and I really like them. I do not know why, I just like the look of them, the print, the typography. It looks kind of like a an advertisement, the cover design, like a flyer or something. And there's, I can't think of the word, but this is King Lear, and I cannot remember what it's called. There's the Queens of Lear. I'm looking at, it's on my shelf right now. I'm looking at the spine. Queens of Lear is the story of King Lear's daughters. It's from their perspective, and I don't know if he actually has. Let's see. Nope, it doesn't say. So I don't know if he actually has. But I like these a lot. And then there's the Folgers Folio editions, which I really like as well. But these, I kind of prefer these over those. But I'm thinking like some of the tragedies I would like to get in this edition. And then once I collect all of them, I don't know if that book I got from Thrift Books, that's a hardback book that is originally from a library apparently, which has 4 of the tragedies in it. I don't know if I'll keep that one or not, or just send that to the Roast office or the Black Castle Books and slowly collect these. Like, I might keep it on the shelf for now. That's the other problem, is if I want to change up and train up my editions of books, then it's like, I almost don't want to take it off the shelf, my original copy, because I want to, keep it in there just to have it, because I don't know if I'll get these new, I don't know if I would get them or not, the editions I want, because sometimes there's some editions I really like that it's hard to get them, but, yeah, so yeah, as I was hinting at earlier, maybe I could read Queens of Lear along with the play, King Lear, and then read some of the other, some of my other plays as well. I don't know when I'll do it, but it could be fun theme. It could be a fun little theme. But anyway, so yeah, I love these editions. I love I love the look of these. I did put another one on my Amazon wish list of this particular edition. Like I said, I want to get the Folgers as well. Maybe get those for the comedies, and then trying to get all these for the tragedies. Although, and I don't know about the other, there's also the history, so I don't know what I would get for those. Maybe mix them up. But I did look at Hamlet, which is one of my favorites, and dang, what someone charged on Amazon to get Hamlet in paperback? It's like, are you kidding me? Really? I don't think it's that worth it. So like I said, there is a Barnes & Noble, but it's hard for me to get to. So I know, obviously, so next time I go to Virginia, at least I know there's one in Virginia. I don't know if there would ever be a time for me to actually go to the bookstore. Like, I just got lucky and was able to go twice while I was in there this time. But yeah, I really, like I said, I really love these editions. So, but unfortunately, you can only get them online, I think, or at Barnes & Noble. So if you have a Barnes & Noble and you like these editions, that's where you'll probably get these. Okay, so that is how my reading is going. Like I said, I'm reading Jane Austen's Life and Letters and finish Northanger Abbey. I need to check and see if Katie from Books and Things, I know there were some videos that she promised that she would do, like talking about Mr. and Miss Bennett. I would love to watch that, so I'll look for that as well. So how is your reading? How is your July reading month going? I hope it's going well for you. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below if you want to be notified when I post videos. And I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.